Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a new video. Today we're working on my Civic hatch. We're just working on getting it cleaned up a little bit and trying to make the motor run a little bit healthier and just prepare it for the things that are about to come. This motor is going to be seeing a lot of power soon, and this car is going to see a lot of speed soon. So we can take a look inside. We already started cleaning the interior and started shaving some of the wires, organizing them. And it's pretty dead empty and gutted in here, but it's starting to look good. I got to clean up this entire wiring mess, so that's what I'm going to be working on for a while. So we'll get into the video.
Alright guys, so basically yesterday when we bought the car, we ran through pretty much the whole thing and just kind of figured out all the little stuff that needs tweaking with it. We found that one of the coilover nuts was missing. There's a few missing bolts on the headers, or nuts on the headers, I mean. A little bit of stuff with the wiring. The guy tried to wire up HID headlights, and they're not quite working right, and they're a little like ganky wiring. So as you can see, Ben's trying to take this harness out, and if you look over here, the harness for the old headlights, I believe, was kind of just sitting in there, so you could definitely tell that it was kind of just like a little project that he had, or it was thrown together a little bit and it wasn't done 100% right. So we made a list of everything that needed to be done to the car. We just went and got pretty much everything that we need. We went and got wires. Let's read the list. Coilover nut, organizing the wiring, PCV filter, and our breather valve and intake. We need to get seat belts for the car, clean the car out, which we've already done, so I can check that off. We already did the coilover nut, check that off. So we have to wire up the headlights, which Ben is trying to do now. The top of the ECU, it's kind of just open right now. We've got to put the cover on from the other ECU that the guy gave us. He gave us two. We're going to compression test it. Seat belts, like I said before, oil and filter. Serpentine belt, tail light bulb. There's the heat shields on the exhaust is hanging out. We got hood pins for the car. It needs mirrors, side mirrors. We're going to put fresh spark plugs in. We have the steering wheel out of the 240 that we're going to take out and put into this car and put the stock 240 wheel back in. We're going to tie down the battery. It's a little bit loose. The lug nuts, they're kind of random, so we just bought a whole new set and we're going to throw those on. There's manifold bolts. And then there's obviously a few little things left in the car that we have to do. We have to put the seats back in and put the fresh bolts in that we got for those. It was missing a few. Yeah, but once we go through the list today, the car is not going to be significantly faster or anything, but it's just going to be a hell of a lot more solid and a lot more reliable. I'll show you the filter that we took off the car. It's pretty gunked up. Same thing with the breather valve. It's pretty gunked up. So it's just little maintenance stuff that we're trying to get done to the car and stuff that we noticed that was bothering us a little bit. Like the battery, there's no tie down on it and it's moving pretty good. So I'm sure we're gonna have to mess with the mounting points on that too. But if you look inside the car, like we showed you earlier, we gutted it out and we cleaned it out pretty well. Ben's gonna have to mess with the wiring for the fuel. So we just vacuumed it out, so I'm gonna pull the shop back out. There's the seats right there. So yeah, we're just going along the list. Ben's worrying about the wiring because I know nothing about wiring, and I'm just gonna try to get as much checked off as I can.
Damn boys, they're a handful. Then I hit him with the high line. Chris Breezy with the dance move.
So I'm back here in the Civic, and I'm just trying to clean up all this wiring for the fuel pump. It's really botched, and it needs to be way cleaner because everything with this car is going to be as nice as we possibly can go with it. So here's just a look at it beforehand, and then I'll show you guys after I'm done. Just random stuff everywhere that doesn't even connect to anything. It's junk. So just a little update of where I'm at with the wiring. I got this side pretty clean, so now it's just this one wire coming in. If you can look over here, this is all useless wire I've taken out already. I got all the wires actually going through this hole instead of just around it and down to the fuel pump. Right now I'm working on, I just cut these wires out because they don't do anything, so I'm just taping them up and then taping them back down to make it cleaner. And then I have to figure out what to do with all this and what wires actually do something and what don't. So yeah, I'm loving this Civic build so far. I hope you guys are too. At some point, I don't know if we're gonna do it later in this video or in the next video, we're gonna sit down and talk about what's going on with the 240 and why, so stay tuned for that.
Alright guys, so we haven't been videoing too much, just because we have such a big list and so many things to do on the car. The wiring inside is 100 times better. As you can see here, got the cold air intake on better. It's actually on there now. Tighten that up, plug that. That was wide open, and then the filter, as you can see, obviously way better filter. New PCV breather valve. We got the spark plugs in. The headers are now actually bolted in. We still haven't really figured out what this ground's for. We think something's grounded onto the block, and then this is grounded to the frame. So we're just gonna test that out later and see if we can get rid of that. I think next what we're gonna do is Ben is gonna try to get the hood pins in and fix the battery, and I'm gonna work on getting the seats back in. We put all new lug nuts all the way around. Those things were on there. Whoever put them on just literally stood on it and just stepped on it and got them tight as hell. I'll show you the inside of the car. Ben's been going hard. It's way cleaner. We're gonna find a place to put the ECU up there and use the cover from this. As you can see, all the wires that were running along here are now gone. We have to get bolts for this, or screws, whatever we're gonna use to hold that down. Ben's cleaned up the wires going all the way down. There's 2 or 3 more wires over there that need doing, but overall the interior is a lot better than it was before. Once we put the seats in, it's gonna look a hell of a lot cleaner. Yeah, basically we've just been running through the car, getting it to a lot better than it was before. There was probably so many vacuum leaks through the cold air intake. It was probably getting way too much air. This wasn't even plugged before. That was wide open. This clamp was over here, and the cold air intake was just sitting in there, and the intake itself was clogged up, so it was all kinds of messed up. But yeah, I'm gonna put the seats back in because the wiring's pretty much done. Ben's gonna work on doing the battery and getting the hood pins in, because as you can see right here, this isn't spring loaded anymore, and inside the car it's kind of fucked up too.
Alright guys, so here's pretty much where we're at with the interior for the video. I got all these wires cleaned up and I'm super happy with how it came out. We got the ECU tucked up under there. We got the cover on it so it's not going to get water on it and fail. We got the boot off the e-brake just so it looks a little bit more race car. It just looked a little weird the way it was hanging around. Ryan's working on getting the rest of that door panel out. Taking the door cards out made the doors so much lighter. Like, we took this one out and then left that one in, and the difference was insane. You can feel it when you swing the door back and forth, and we're losing a lot of weight today, so Civic's a good girl. She got on a diet, and now she can go faster. But I was about to start on the hood pins, but the drill bit we have, the biggest drill bit we have, is not big enough to make holes big enough for these pins. So that's going to be a project for a different day. Ryan's just working on getting the door card out of the driver's side right now. And there's a lot of the glue stuff left over, but we can figure out a way to get rid of it eventually.
Probably heat gun, just loosen it up. It's so cold.
Heat gun and some cleaner.
Like, look, it's fucking hard. That's close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Alright guys, we haven't filmed in a little bit just because we've been hauling ass working on the car. We were going to put the racy steering wheel out of the S13 onto the Honda, but the splines were too big in the steering wheel and they were too small on the shaft, so it didn't quite work out. But we've been just trying to get work done. Garrett got here, by the way. We've just been trying to get work done on this car, trying to make it mint, trying to just make it a solid base before we start trying to upgrade anything. Because if you just have something kind of crappy and you don't touch it and then you try to start upgrading it, that's how you start breaking stuff and spending way too much money. So right now Ryan is taking off the little strong arm for the top of the hatch because it didn't bolt up, so we're just getting rid of it because weight reduction. This is all stuff we've taken out of the car. There's more over here. That entire garbage can is all wiring and shit we took out of the car. I took so much wiring out of that car that did not need to be there at all. So now that's just like a cleaner slate. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the car. Just because we've touched so much stuff on this car today, we want to make sure it still starts. I mean, I'm not saying we're bad mechanics. It just shit happens, you know. You have so many. Here. God damn it! I just fixed this.
This thing, like, I pumped it last night, and that was before we've touched all this shit, and it kind of boogies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like scares the shit out of you, but it's like it moves.
It was scary when we couldn't see.
Yeah, it moves. It really does.
All right, you're straight.
Do you want me to open the garage door or no?
No. What, Rye?
Your seat was all kinds of fucked. So I must fixing it.
Send it.
Here, electrical tape. Put it over the hood.
Oh.
Ready?
Yep.
I didn't give it any gas. I just wanted to see if it would idle.
That sounded so healthy. What happened?
Just got so much fumes, yo. I'm lightheaded as fuck.
Oh yeah, man, you feeling it, bro?
Yo, Ben, look at this. Come here. You literally don't need to tighten it. It's just that has slack. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, where it is right there is perfect. Like, watch. This is the difference between what I was doing. Like, I'm not fucking with you. It just needs to be, like...
Did it seem like I was on ass?
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.